Am I the asshole for still going to my dental appointment after my husband tried to get me to reschedule? So I, F34, was having a horrible toothache. I'd taken medication to ease the pain, but it was bad. Like you need to go to the dentist level of bad. I scheduled an appointment and was told to come yesterday. My husband's, M37, best friend, Terry, M33, got into an accident and injured his knee. He has been staying with us for several weeks. My husband looks after him as he sees him living alone and in need of assistance. I welcomed him to our home but found myself having to clean up after him and bring him his medication and also cook for him. And if I take a long time to get something done, he'd call my husband and basically tell on me, which makes my husband mad. He says it's temporary, and also since I'm home 24/7 and he is the working, then I should help caring for his friend. It has become quite overwhelming because now I can't leave the house if my husband isn't there with his friend. Like I stated previously about the dental appointment, I told my husband the night before and he pitched a hissy fit saying I can't leave Terry home alone. I suggested he take time off work and stay with him, but he said it wouldn't work with such a short notice. He suggested that I reschedule, but I said no, even showed him how bad the swelling was, yet he told me to hold on for another day. He went to work early and I decided I was still going to go. Terry was in the living room. He sleeps on a large mattress in the living room, and saw me making my way out as Mom was waiting at the door. He asked where I was going and I told him to the dental appointment. He had an attitude and raised his voice at me, telling me to go back upstairs and cancel. Mom stepped in and started arguing with him, asking who he think he is. He went on about how he was unable to move and then threatened to call my husband if I stepped a foot out the door. I took my mom and left. He ended up calling my husband, who then tried to call me over and over for 2 hours till I turned my phone off. Instead of returning home, I went to stay with my mom because I was in tremendous pain, and my husband started yelling at me, calling me stubborn for still going after he told me to reschedule and irresponsible for leaving his injured friend home alone. Mom told him off, which escalated the argument between us. He is now currently staying at home along with his friend while constantly pressuring me to stop hiding behind Mom and come deal with the results of having him leave his job for hours after I blindsided him and went against his wishes. Edit. Autocorrect. Not the asshole. Sounds to me like you should continue staying with your mom and let your soon-to-be ex-husband start his new life with his partner Terry. Not the asshole. He's 33 with an injured knee, not 97 and on his deathbed. Since your husband and Terry are on the same side, just give Terry your ring. Clearly your husband loves him more. G's look of triumph. Not the asshole your husband is. He's turned you into a carer for his buddy without asking, and Terry is a grown man that tattles on you for not doing more when you're doing plenty. He expects you to neglect your own physical health when you're in pain to cater to his friend. Not gonna lie, when I read that the friend raised his voice and told you to go upstairs and cancel, I got some second-hand rage. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? You've been more than accommodating. There's an old saying, fish and guests start to stink after 3 days. Terry gotta go. And your husband needs an attitude adjustment if he wants to stay married to you, because his current approach seems intolerable. Not the asshole. The complete lack of respect both of these men have for you is breathtaking. A grown man tattling about not being served fast enough? And your husband takes his side? I know people hate the Reddit tells people to divorce trope, but this situation shows such a fundamental lack of care or respect for you. It tells you everything about his character, and the character of someone he's chosen as his best friend. I don't see how you come back from this. By the way, severe tooth pain is an urgent issue. People have died from dental abscess complications. I don't know if that's what was going on with you, but your husband was literally willing to risk your health to make his asshole baby friend happy. Not the asshole. Stay with your mom, don't go back. Not the asshole. He seems to be more worried about his friend than his wife. Does hubby's friend know he has 2 knees? He can use crutches and walk. You're accommodating, but you're not their slave. Am I the asshole for taking my child to her mom's home and leaving her there? I, M40, have full custody of my daughter, F12. Her mom only has once-a-month visitations. Recently she has been acting up and insisting on living with her mom because she thinks I'm a bad dad. I knew she couldn't live with her mom because her mom is a terrible mom. I know it because I've seen the way she treats her other kids, which is why I tried so hard to get full custody. Also, my daughter is used to her very privileged life, which her mom can't give her. A few days ago we got into an argument and again she said she hated me and wanted to live with her mom. I got angry, I made her pack a bag. Took her to her mom's home, left her there and told her she is gonna live here just as she wanted. One day later I got a message from her asking me to take her home. I ignored all her messages and calls for 4 days until I figured she has learned her lesson. I answered her call and she was crying and asking me to take her home, which I did. She has been staying in her room ever since. My family thinks I'm a huge asshole and should have just brought her home the first time she called, but I thought it was necessary. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole for not at least answering her calls and talking to her to make sure she was safe. That's awful. She already has to live with the fact her mom is terrible. Now she probably feels she can't trust her dad either. I understand that you were trying to make a point. Still, you are the asshole. You said she has a terrible mom. So why would you leave your daughter there for 4 days, and ignoring her texts and calls, knowing that she could have been in danger? And you may not be quite the dad you think you are if you get all in your feelings every time a 12-year-old says something to you. You are the asshole. She calls you a bad dad, so you proceeded to prove it by ghosting her. What if something had actually happened and that's why she was calling? I saw where you said the mom was neglectful, so how do you know she had enough to eat? Enough sleep? Enough attention? You really are a horrible father. At least on an emotional connection level. So you willingly left her with someone you describe as a terrible mother for 4 days when she wanted to come home after one. You are the asshole. It must hurt when she tells you that you're a bad dad, especially since you fought so hard for her, but guess what? That's kids for ya. Do you know what you just did? You just proved to her that you are a bad dad. She wanted to come home and you ghosted her, for 4 days. That's some toxic parenting right there. She won't ever forget that. You are the asshole. You left your child for 4 days with a woman you describe as a bad mother. Maybe you should look into counseling and parenting classes before pushing your daughter into more depression. You are the asshole. She's 12 and you ditched her with someone you know won't take care of her properly. Maybe you should actually reflect on why she thinks you're a bad father before you ditch her for 4 days with no way to get a hold of you in case of emergency? Am I the asshole for refusing to tell my wife to stop putting notes in my lunch? Okay, so my wife, 27F, has a habit of putting notes, affirmation, in my 31M lunch when she packs it. She's been doing it for a year now. It started when I suffered from some issues surrounding employment, and I appreciate it a lot because it gives me strength and renews my energy for the rest of the day. So anyway, my coworkers know about and sometimes would tease me about it, calling me a 4th or 5th grader and calling my wife, Granny, just teasing, nothing unusual for them. It happens at lunch where most of the guys in the department sit together. A company worker of mine, Jimmy, is the newest employee in our company. He lost his wife few months ago and he is sort of a precate dude in general. However, he started sitting with us during lunch break after the guys insisted. I sit and eat my food after I look at the note my wife left, then rinse and repeat. Till few days ago, one of the co-workers pulled me aside and we began talking, then the note thing was brought up. He told me that Jimmy has been enjoying sitting with us during lunch break but couldn't help but feel uncomfortable with the notes I keep pulling out of my package every day. He then went on to tell me the dude lost his wife and seeing me getting notes from mine hit a nerve because it reminded him of his late wife. I felt puzzled. I asked, okay, what am I supposed to do about it? He told me to consider telling my wife to stop putting those notes and maybe find some other way to do it instead of bringing them to work and having Jimmy look at them, like. I wasn't sure of what to say, but I told him it was ridiculous. He reminded me that Jimmy sent him to me with this message thinking it'd give me more space to react, and then told me I literally lose nothing by having some consideration for the poor guy and be as less insensitive as I can. I told him off and said that it's not my fault Jimmy is struggling with grief and it's not like I even know him that well to be accommodating him to this extent. He said that I was being cruel and selfish and got the others to witness the argument and shame me for my stance, but I refused to do it and went back to work on my project. Things had been tense at my workplace and some of the guys I'm close with say I should be more empathetic and try not to make Jimmy uncomfortable after they went through hell to get him to sit with them on lunch break. Not the asshole at all. Your marriage and the way your wife expresses her love is your business. It's unfortunate about Jimmy, but that's a massive boundary he crossed. Are you all never allowed to mention your wives again? How long is this supposed to last? I feel sorry for him, but it's out of order to expect your wife to stop the notes. Not the asshole. Do not ever compromise the happy actions in your marriage for anyone else. Ever. Not the asshole. Jimmy needs to learn that other people are happy. And he's going to be unhappy for a long time. If it makes him uncomfortable and he chooses to sit, then he needs to deal or leave. What is this went through hell to get Jimmy to sit with them BS? Are you working at kindergarten? Because it sounds like your coworkers, Jimmy included, are very immature for not only teasing you about the notes and overstepping a boundary but also sending an envoy instead of going straight to you himself. Jimmy will just have to learn to deal with the fact that other people have spouses instead of acting as if he's the victim because of it. Hard not the asshole. Unless you are reading the note aloud, not the asshole. Odds are that Jimmy only knew what the notes were because of the jealous asshole coworkers who tease you about it. I would talk to Jimmy directly and find out if he even made the request in the first place. If he did, I would tell him that you treasure your wife's notes but will be more discreet about reading them if it bothers him. If he didn't, the asshole coworkers need to have a conversation with HR about trying to pit you and Jimmy against each other. This is a preposterous demand. Will your coworkers be policing couples walking hand in hand on the sidewalk outside your office building, too? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for saying no when my husband asked me to adopt my son? Final update. Okay, I'll answer some of the questions that I got to read and I'll leave this post. Don't wait for further update because there won't be one. I'm tired of people thinking I don't love my husband, that I still hope I can get back with my ex, that I'll leave Devin for him, that he just ran away. 1. In the case that I die or something happens to me, at the moment, Levi goes to my family, most likely my sister and my ex's family, and Devin can keep contact. 2. I won't ask my son right now if he wants to be adopted because he'll say no. Devin knows this too and that's why he asked me. I said we should wait until he's 9 or 10 so he can fully understand. Either way, I'm willing to slowly introduce him to what adoption is what means so he can make the best decision in a few years. 3. Even if Devin adopts him, his last name won't be changed. My ex's family is deeply involved with Levi to the point of financial aid and having him 2 days per week. So removing my ex's last name is not an option. If Devin wants to truly adopt him out of love, he has to respect this. 4. In the meantime, I'll talk with Devin about legal guardianship so he can have legal rights about Levi. Either way, this will have to be discussed with my ex's family too. 5. I can love my ex and still be able to move on. That's all I'll say. I love my husband with all my heart. My ex was my first love, but Devin is the love of my life and I can't imagine leaving him for someone else. Throwaway, I'll try to keep it short. I'm 26F. Married to my husband of 2 years, Devin, 30M. I have a son named Levi, 5M, from a previous relationship. Devin has known him his whole life. Levi's father and I were together until he went missing before our son was born. Devin loves Levi with all of his heart, and Levi loves him too, I know it. Levi looks a lot like his father and while I'll always love him, I've moved on from the relationship. He was a big adventurer and I often talk about him with Levi. I show him photos and he visits his dad's family pretty frequently. He knows he's daddy, while Devin is papa, or Devin, depending on his mood. Either way, he's his father figure. We do receive money from my ex's side. His father takes care of some of Levi's expenses, but that's not the issue here. 3 days ago, Devin asked me about adopting Levi. He wants to give him his surname and become his legal parent. I said no. He was devastated by this, but I don't think I'm ready or that it's even fair. We can legally do it but I don't wanna. I said he could hyphenate Levi's last name with his, but he wants to fully adopt him. He said my ex's parents can still be a part of his life. He doesn't have any problem, but I said he could ask when Levi was older and that if he says yes, then I'm okay with it, but in the meantime my answer is no. He's been distant ever since and now and I might be wondering if I was an asshole for crushing his hopes. I called my sister to ask her opinion and she said I was because this is the only father Levi has known all of his life and I'm taking something big from him. ETA. My ex went missing. Missing. He didn't abandon me, he didn't walked out, he went missing. I don't care about your theories or if you think he did so save it. That's not what I'm asking here. Be respectful at least. And #X200B. Not the asshole your son should decide when he is older. Info. Why does Devin want to adopt him now and not later? How do you think Levi would feel about being adopted? And why are you not wanting Devin to adopt your son? Is it because you're holding out hope that he's still alive and would want to be a part of his son's and your life? Or are you afraid that if he adopts your son it would erase your ex from the picture? Nah. This is not a textbook situation where a path is clear-cut to provide a straight-up answer. The main point is there is a lot of love in this relationship, which is key. But opt right to maintain the status quo until the child can decide for themselves. Personally, it would be impolite to change the child's name when his dad's family is active in his life. It should ultimately be a decision for Levi to make. Not the asshole. It's something that you son should have a say in, and waiting until he's older so that he understand that its means is a kind thing to do. I understand your husband's intentions, but this is something that need input from your son. No assholes here right now. I sympathize with both your reasonings, but I think you have to consider not the symbolism but the very concrete aspects of it. What are the legal rights of your husbands over the child if something happens to you or if you two break up? Nah, he asked. You said no, he's allowed to be disappointed as long as he isn't pressuring you.